You're looking at some adorable volunteers, boys and girls ages 3 to 7, who agreed to help out with what they thought was a toy test. But their parents know the truth. This is a safety check.
From a distance, that looks like a Desert Eagle, which is a very high-capacity handgun.
Chief Fleming hid the realistic replica in the couch. The kids rush in to play with the toys as their parents watch on monitors. They counted money, played with stuffed animals, and pretended like all kids do. Many just inches away from the fake pistol.
I own a gun.
Some of our parents are gun owners. Some aren't. All have talked with their kids about guns and safety. But they didn't prep the kids for this test.
I just shot you down.
Parents watched as that hidden gun slid to the floor. Now take a look at the kids. Most are standing. But 3-year-old Jordan plays on the floor. She has a truck. But then something else catches her eye. So she stands up, walks over, and finds something new to play with. That's under the couch.
Yeah, my 3-year-old touched it first.
When Jordan pulls the trigger, nothing happens. She quickly loses interest and drops it on the floor.
Well, I'm thinking I've taught my kids the right thing to do, and they didn't do it.
In about 30 seconds, another kid spots it.
First thing he did was put his finger on the trigger.
Josh, age 7, wants to open the gun. He figures it out. At times, the gun is aimed at another child.
Yes.
His mom is stunned.
I didn't expect this. I mean, I'm completely shocked.
A gun? Where'd you find that gun?
And then 6-year-old Luke wants his turn.
I did not expect this at all, and it broke my heart when I saw it. And we're going to have a long conversation.
The parents know the gun is fake, but it's still tough to watch. In 90 seconds, the gun changes hands 3 times, from Jordan to Josh to Luke.
All of the other children were just playing mentally. We could all just see bang, in our heads, accident, And it's scary.
There are tears and hugs, and the parents realize not one kid in this group is concerned about that gun.
Give me that gun. No!
All the kids assume it's a toy.
I opened it.
In this case, they're right. We bring out Chief Mike Fleming.
Hey, is this okay to play with?
He talks with the kids about gun safety. If you find a gun, don't even touch it. Get an adult.
Did you think it might be real?
Take another look at the video. Here's what Chief Fleming noticed.
The first place that their finger went was onto the trigger.
Kids do what they see in movies and on TV.
I'm gonna aim for you.
They don't just hold guns, they instantly shoot them.
Those things happen in a second.
And then he could have been shot.
They thought it was a toy. They don't know how powerful that gun is, that it can take someone's life.
So what do you tell your kids about guns? The National Rifle Association actually has a program that teaches children what to do if they see a gun.
And the 4 steps are these. If a child encounters a gun or what appears to be a gun, whether they think it's real or not, stop, don't touch it, run away, and tell an adult.
And that program is called Eddie Eagle Gun Safe Program, and you can find a link to it in this story on our website. So this is the gun that we used, and it's really heavy, but it is not a real gun. We obviously used a fake gun to get somewhat of a real reaction from kids.
It sure looks like a real one to me.
Yeah.
It feels like a real gun.
It does. It's really heavy.
In the experiment, how long did it take before the kids found it, before the 3-year-old little girl found that?
7 minutes and 30 seconds. And it's interesting because when it fell down to the floor, I wondered if any of the kids would find the gun because it was hidden under the couch and we have dark carpet. But the police officer standing there, he's like, I'm not surprised at all because kids play down low. And that's where they normally find them. They don't find them up high, they find them down low.
And they're always looking.
They are.
Yeah.
Everything's a toy to them.
Inquisitive.
Yes.
All right, Angie, thank you.
It's an issue that both unites us and divides us. KCTV5 is going beyond the headlines of the gun debate, bringing you an issue that runs deep in our community. Tonight, anchor Brad Stevens takes us inside a local church that's taking on 2 touchy topics, God and guns.
At a recent service here at the Church of the Resurrection in Leawood, Kansas, parishioners hung on to the pastor's every word.
So that criminals are not having access to guns.
Guns and gun ownership have never been in the crosshairs of controversy quite like they are right now. It's as polarizing as any issue in America.
Let's be a part of the solution.
So why bring this powder keg into church?
We felt like, if we can help people understand both sides, often the truth is somewhere in the middle.
Police say a shooter struck Sandy Hook Elementary School.
To understand how we got here, Hamilton reflects on the carnage carried out on school grounds like Newtown, Connecticut, and Virginia Tech. And most recently, the bloodshed in San Bernardino.
I think it's the mass killings that really have led people to start talking more about gun control, which has led gun advocates to speak up, about why we need to have guns and to want to go make sure they get guns for fear that someday they may not be able to get them.
Churchgoers I talked with were glad to get a little gun guidance.
Kind of bring the left wing and the right wing, bring them to a conversation, because that's what's missing, right?
I think there are a lot of things that we all agree, and the division is more superficial than actually deep.
I would be in favor of more responsible gun laws. I think there ought to be background checks. I think there ought to be, I'm not against gun ownership.
Hamilton, too, wants to make it clear he supports the Second Amendment, but says at times common sense seems to be lacking.
I mean, the idea that in Kansas you can go buy a gun and carry it wherever you want to, concealed without any kind of training, makes no sense. I mean, this is a lethal weapon you're giving to somebody, and you're not teaching them anything about how to use it.
After talking with people on both sides of the issue, Hamilton believes finding middle ground can be reached reasonably, such as keeping guns away from felons and people with mental illness, making sure first-time gun buyers have easy access to gun safety training, and establishing a system for background checks for individual gun sales.
So for those members of our church who have guns and who have been frustrated by their friends or their family members who advocate for more regulation, they might be able to say, hey, I heard my pastor talk about this, and, I think this is a place we could probably find some common ground. I mean, wouldn't it be great if people walked out of church and were able to connect with their friends who see this differently and say, hey, we could agree on this, and maybe bring them together as opposed to, and then work together for some common sense things that might make our society safer.
More than 5,000 members of the congregation answered a survey, and in it, nearly 9 of 10 gun owners said they favored some kind of safety training on how to handle a gun before you can get a concealed carry permit. And Amy, of all the people that I talked to as they were walking out of church, they all said, whether they were gun owners or people who didn't own guns, no one said, we want to restrict gun owners' rights. No one said that. They said, we just want to see if there isn't a way that we can make guns a little bit safer in our society.
Doesn't it kind of just seem like the common sense thing to do?
And that's what Pastor Adam Hamilton kept saying. Let's look for some common sense ways to approach this issue.
Yeah,
some good ideas out there.
Absolutely. Brad, thank you so much. We appreciate that.
At Centerfire Shooting Sports in Olathe, Corinne Mosier teaches families about gun safety. She's a mom herself and the wife of an Overland Park police officer.
Every time that there's an incident where a child or some individual gains access to a firearm and then they're injured or unintentionally injure someone else, this is what makes it so tragic, is that they are almost all preventable.
A 2015 survey found a child 3 years old or younger got their hands on a gun and shot someone 43 times. 15 of those cases were deadly, and 13 toddlers accidentally killed themselves. Only a few weeks ago, at this home in Grandview, a 4-year-old little girl shot herself in the leg. And court records show her grandmother, Tapra Barnett, left a loaded gun under a couch. Nearly every gun sold by a reputable dealer comes with its own lock, and often a case that locks too. And now new technology could allow owners to keep a gun loaded and still prevent deadly accidental shootings.
Today I'm going to show you a device that's been in development for over 20 years.
Biometric technology, such as IntelliGun, can not only prevent a child from shooting the gun, but even stop a criminal from grabbing and using a police officer's weapon. They're also called smart guns. This particular product is a retrofit kit put on your handgun. It will only fire if it recognizes the authorized user's fingerprint. When we caught up with Mosier, she had just gotten back from the largest gun show in the country in Las Vegas. She saw a number of new products, so we asked her about biometric technology, something she has used in the past.
Biometrics tend not to work for every person the same. For instance, it would read our safe would read my husband's fingerprint just fine every time, then occasionally it wouldn't read mine. It's cool, but it is not reliable yet. It doesn't work every time yet.
Mosier prefers radio frequency identification. It's cheaper, and she showed us some of her favorite safety devices.
I'm actually wearing the Generation 2 bracelet. So what I'll do is I'll just wave that over the top and it opens instantly.
The bracelet looks like a Fitbit. The safe also costs around $200. This gun vault is on her nightstand. It opens with a chip, which can be put in a card or on an iPhone or worn as a bracelet. It costs about $250.
The point being, it doesn't have to cost a lot of money to make sure that your firearms are secure, so there's really just no excuse for not having your guns locked up.
Besides storing firearms correctly, Mosier says it's the responsibility of gun owners to get trained.
It's on the adult, it's on the person who was supposed to be responsible and wasn't. Children are children, you know, I mean, we're responsible for their safety.